Yeah, this that entrepreneurial conversation where ideas flip the hustle into elevation. No filters, no cap, just lessons in motion. Pull up, lock in, this entrepreneurial conversation. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? I got a question. Have you ever made money in your business and you still feel broke? Have you? Because as entrepreneurs, we all made financial decisions that we wish we could have taken back, right? Whether it's underpricing our service, spending money too soon, chasing every opportunity, or confusing revenue with profit. Those lessons often become our greatest teachers. So in this episode today, man, we're going to be talking about the financial traps for new entrepreneurs. So before we jump into that, man, grand rising to all my investors and self out there. Thank y'all for coming through, listening to another entrepreneurial conversation for this lovely Monday morning, guys. Thank y'all for coming by. We're going to have a great conversation for today. I know last week we didn't have the sidebar convo. I got busy. I had a couple things I had to do regarding house things I needed to have appointments set up for and what have you. So I didn't get a chance to get around to doing the sidebar convo, but we're going to jump into this conversation today. So it's going to be a good one. But before we jump into it, y'all know what time it is, man. If you are listening or watching this episode for today, make sure you hit on that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the Invest Media channel. Also hit on that notification bell so you can be notified when anything new drop on the channel. Make sure when you hit that bell, hit all so you get all notifications of everything that drops on the channel. And also invest in hitting that like button, guys. It's free to invest in hitting that like button. And like I said before, man, I'm gonna be rolling out a new format to where when I'm gonna be dropping these shows. So Entrepreneurial Conversations, sidebar convo, I'm gonna be dropping them on different days. So once I roll that out, I definitely will let y'all know. And also we still got the No Pressure Just Vibes late night radio show. I know I keep pushing that back, but I'm trying to find the right time to drop it. I want to make sure these shows get to where they need to get to too. So I don't want to bite off more than I can chew at the moment, but that show definitely going to be coming for my late nightpreneurs, so y'all can have something to vibe to when you up late working on your entrepreneurship. And also if your entrepreneurship grind starts at nighttime, you can have something to vibe out to. But other than that, guys, man, I don't want to hold y'all too long, so let's get into the conversation at hand for today. Like I said, today's discussion we're going to be talking about is financial traps for new entrepreneurs, guys. And that's the thing, guys, man, when it coming to becoming a new entrepreneur, it's a lot of things that you can get yourself into a financial trap. And this is what this show is about, man, to make you aware of things that you can't avoid, or if you already in this financial trap, to how you can fix it, how you can spot the things that you did wrong and things that you can change. And hopefully this episode can help you by all means and what have you. So the first thing is confusing revenue with profit, guys. And what I mean by confusing revenue with profit is just because money is coming in doesn't mean you're making money, right? Because you got to understand your revenue versus your profit. Your profit is anything that's left over from after you done bought re-up and bought more material, more product and what have you. And if you have a team of employees, if you pay them, if you have investors, what have you, anything that's left over after that is going to be your profit of what you have made. So don't confuse the revenue that you made from your sales as profit, because majority of time that's going to be the money that you're going to reinvest back into your business. And also if you have a team of people, that's what you're going to use to pay your team out of. So you want to understand revenue versus profit, and don't confuse the two, right? Because you definitely, if you think that's your profit, you're not going to have money left over to reinvest back in your business, because you're going to eventually overspend what you didn't have in the first place, right? Other thing is, many entrepreneurs celebrate sales while ignoring expenses. Like I just said, you have expenses, right? So the revenue that you get from sales, you still got to factor in the expenses that you have like be bills that you may have to pay, things that you may have to do, like reinvest back in your business is going to be expenses that you're going to have to get more equipment, more material, more things to make sure that you have it there so you can continue to generate sales, and hopefully you can start seeing profits from your sales and what have you, right? And the next thing is why cash flow matters more than revenue. You want to make sure you have the cash flow, because if you don't have the cash flow and you just trying to survive your business off of just revenue, then you're not going to make it. Because say for instance, if you have a bad month, right, or a bad couple of weeks, and you don't generate the same revenue that you did last month, that's going to take away from how much you may be able to reinvest back into your business. So you want to make sure you have a cash flow to help your business stay afloat, especially during rough months, rough times, rough weeks, right? Because like I said, you do have expenses that you have to take care of. So you want to make sure you have enough cash flow, because it does matter. Next thing is the danger of scaling a business that isn't profitable, right? So if your business is not profitable at the moment, you don't want to continue putting money into something and trying to scale it, and you're not seeing a return from it whatsoever. Now, it's a difference if you just beginning and you're in the early stages, and you can see the progress, you can see the potential of a profitable business because you're seeing the results. But if you're not seeing any results and what have you, of this can be a chance to be profitable, then it's no point of continue to scale something that's not going to bring you profit at the end of the day, right? So what looks successful on social media, right, isn't always profitable behind the scenes. So you got to take social media as a grain of salt. It's like delusion of grandeur, because you never know what's going on behind the curtains of that person's business, or what's going on behind that person as an entrepreneur, right? So the next thing is spending to look successful, right? And a lot of times people want to spend to look successful, and at the end of the day, you're not succeeding as an entrepreneur, right? So you don't want to cosplay as an entrepreneur, and you're not really doing anything. You're not being successful as an entrepreneur, right? So looking successful, like buying expensive equipment before it's necessary. So you don't want to buy equipment that's just going to be sitting there that you really don't need, right? You can always work yourself up to that equipment by taking baby steps, right? And not saying you'll never get there to get that equipment, because right now you don't need that equipment. So you just spend money just to say you have it, and you really don't need it. Just like if you need a printer, you can, or you need say you pressing shirts, you can go and get a used heat presser and use that until you can work your way up to a better one. You don't have to go out right away and grab the biggest expensive one ever, because you don't have that business generating in right now. So you just wasted money where you could put that into something else, another part of your business, right? Other thing is renting offices too early. You don't want to rent an office too early, because you have a business expense. You got to pay a monthly fee, right? So it's no point to trying to scale real quick when you don't have a business that's afloat yet, right? So take your time, right? Overspending on branding, logos, and luxury business items. You don't have to do any of that quick. Start off small. You can work your way up to potentially getting the things that you need. You can upgrade your business, right? That's what most business people do. You can upgrade your logo, upgrade to better things as you continue to generate profit for your business and revenue for your business that you can help put back into your business, money that you can use to put back into your business, right? The pressure. Next thing is the pressure to look like a CEO. You don't have to visibly look like a CEO. You want to have a mindset of a CEO, because if what does it help if you looking like CEO but you don't have a mindset as one? It doesn't make sense at all. So you got it all backwards, right? So are you building a business, or are you building a business image? So you got to understand the two is different. Are you building a business, or are you building a business image? You know, to most people, image is everything, but you got to understand, when you building a business, you got to have a total different mindset than building an image, right? The next thing is not paying yourself, right? So why entrepreneurs often become the lowest paid employees, right? You got to understand that. Next thing is the emotional trap of reinvesting every dollar. See, the thing about it is, you want to reinvest you want to reinvest back into your business, but also you want to find a common ground where how much you're going to pay yourself from what's left over after reinvesting money back into your business, paying your employee, take care of your expenses and what have you, how much you're going to pay yourself. Because you want to make sure you are rewarding yourself for the success that you have created for yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, you want to reinvest money back to your business, but you also want to pay yourself as an entrepreneur. And what I say, the first thing was why entrepreneurs often become the lowest pay employee, because a lot of times entrepreneurs don't know how to pay themselves or what to pay themselves, what percentage are you going to pay yourself, and also still making sure you have money, a cash flow to go around and what have you. So the other thing is create a simple owner pay system. So once you find a system that's going to work best for you, that's going to be balanced all the way around to where you're going to be able to invest money back to your business, take care of your expenses, pay your employees if you have a team, and pay yourself. You want to make sure you pay yourself a right percentage, because like I said, at the end of the day, as an owner, you want to make sure you are, you have a family, you have people support, so you want to make sure you are finding that common ground to where you can still support your family, do the things that you need to do outside of your business, because you got to understand, a business that can't eventually pay itself, pay its owner, isn't sustainable. So you want to create a business definitely to be able to pay the owner, which is you, right? Because you got your own personal life, you got things that you need to do. You may have kids, you may have a wife, right? A wife or a husband, whatever you have, right? You still have a life that outside your business that you had to sustain and what have you, right? So you just don't want to be doing a business and you're not making any money off of. You just be reinvesting every dollar into that business, right? Next thing is mixing personal and business finances, right? And a lot of people as entrepreneurs, when you get in, don't understand that you got some people using their personal bank account as their business account, which that is a red flag. You don't want to mix business with personal, because you don't want to have money that's supposed to go back into your business going out from your personal business expenses, like your light bill, your phone bill, and things like that of that such, right? Or you have a joint account and your significant other is taking money that's supposed to be for your business, what have you. So you want to separate, and plus is different tax reasons too. So in far as business accounts, you definitely want to see to make for government reasons too, state reasons, all that. They want to make sure you're not funneling business money, using this money to funnel money through a bank account, which is not gonna, which doesn't have anything to do with business and what have you. So, the thing is using one bank account for everything. You definitely don't want to do it, because also, you got bookkeeping, you got accounting, you got things like that. So you don't want to mix the two, because that can become a nightmare, right? So the bookkeeping nightmare that follows. So that's definitely going to turn into confusion, right? So it's all about keeping your books straight, making sure, because you, as a business, you are going to get audited. So you don't want to have personal things in your business account. You don't want to have your things, your money that's just coming from your business going into your personal account and what have you, right? Tax season stress. Like I just said, for tax purposes, you definitely want to keep the two separate, right? You definitely don't want to do that. Why separate accounts? Create clarity. This is what creates clarity for yourself when you keep the two separated. So for my new entrepreneurs, do not put your business account with your personal account. Get you a business account. Keep everything separate so you'll know what's for your personal, what's for your business, right? What's going in and what's going out, right? So what financial habits are costing you time and peace of mind? That's important. You want to make sure it's not costing you time, and you want to make sure you have a peace of mind when it comes to the two. Anything can happen, right? You don't want something to happen to the point where your personal account, you might have go through a separation, you might go through something with your significant other, and they, you never know, they might go take all the money, and you got your business money coming in from your business going to that personal account. They wipe you clean. Guess what's going to happen? You have business expenses, you have employees, you have a lot of things, and you don't want this to happen to you, right? Anything can happen. Your accounts can get frozen. Anything can happen. Bank account get hacked. Anything can happen. So you want to keep the two. You want for bookkeeping purposes, accounting, what have you. So you want to tax purposes. So you want to have a peace of mind, and you want to save yourself a lot of time from the confusion, right? Next thing is chasing every opportunity, right? The hidden cost of distractions. You don't want to chase every opportunity, because every opportunity may not be the right opportunity for you, might not be the right time to take an opportunity, right? And that opportunity may lead you to having trouble, far as financial trouble, put you into a bind, give you many distractions where you should have been focusing on your business instead of focus on the opportunity you thought that was good, right? So you want to make sure you do not chase opportunity. When you are doing the right things and you putting yourself in the right position, you're going to create opportunities for yourself, right? So investing in multiple business ideas at once. And a lot of times I see a lot of entrepreneurs do this. They have a lot of business ideas and they want to tie everything in once, but you got to focus on one thing at a time. You don't want to go in and try to do this, trying to do that, trying to do this, because at the end of the day, a person that's on the outside looking in, they're going to be like, what do you have going on? What type of business is this? I see you got this going on, you got that going on. So you want to focus on one thing at a time, because it's going to take money. So you don't want to try to invest in multiple business that's not profitable, right? Because you got to, if you got ideas for 5 different businesses and you try to do that at once, guess what? You're going to need to invest money into those businesses. And if you don't have the cash flow, you don't have anything, then you have no profitable business and you're going to be struggling. So it's no reason for you to put yourself in a situation when you don't need to. Focus on one thing at a time, right? One thing, not saying you can add layers to it as you become successful at the first idea. You can add the next idea into that, right? Other thing is courses, software memberships that never get used. A lot of times we do that. We buy courses, we buy software, we buy memberships, then we don't realize it until it comes out our bank account and we like, man, I never used this. I never took advantage of this. So why am I paying a monthly fee? So that's a lot of money on a monthly that you are spending on something you don't use. Then a one-time fee for software that you may not even begin to use, right? Or you paying a monthly fee to use software you're not even taking advantage of, right? Courses, right? That never get used, right? So not every opportunity is an opportunity for you. Understand it. Let me say it again. Not every opportunity is an opportunity for you. So definitely understand that, guys. Next thing is underpricing products and services, right? So the thing about that is you don't want to underprice a product. So you want to see your competitors where they are pricing a product up, where you can fit in at, where you can, especially when you have something of quality, something that's filling in the void, something that's solving problems, right? People going to gravitate, especially if it's something that they need, right? So fear of charging what you're worth. So if you sometimes undercharge, people can see that as you're not being confident in your product. You may have something that may not be good. So you're trying to hurry up and sell it. So you want to set it at a price that people feel like that is reasonable, a price that people see that you are confident in your product. You have something that's good and is well worth it and what have you, right? So fear of charging what you're worth, charge what you're worth, because if you have something of quality, people gonna pay. They don't care about the price, especially if something that is solving a problem for them is something that's quality, that's great service or a great product. People gonna buy it all day long, right? Attracting bargain hunters instead of ideal clients. If you are setting your prices just to get people that are bargain hunters, it's not a guarantee there's going to be recurring customers, especially depending on the product or what you have and what the price of the product is, right? You want to build the ideal client to where they're going to be a recurring customer that's going to require your services on a month-to-month basis, right? Or they're going to constantly come back and buy your product and spend money with you. You want the ideal client versus the bargain hunters, right? Why low prices? Next thing, why low prices can actually hurt growth, because you don't want to continue to set low prices, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to generate enough revenue that's going to be able to cover your expenses. Like I said, if you have a team, pay your team, right? Also, you want to be able to have enough cash flow to be able to reinvest back into your business, right? So it's about growing your business. If you are setting low prices and you just barely making ends meet, you're not going to have a lot of money to cover expenses, reinvest back into your business, and you definitely not going to see your profit because you're spending every little bit of your money just to put back into your business, right? So if your prices doubled tomorrow, would you still provide value? If your prices doubled tomorrow, let me say it again. If your prices doubled tomorrow, will you still provide value? Next thing is living off of future money. And that is, spending expected income before it arrives, right? So you don't want to spend before you actually see it there, right? Because what happened if you overspend and then you don't see the results of that future money you thought it was going to come? Anything can happen. So if you don't have it there and you spending it and it's not there yet, guess what? You're going to have to cover that expense once you get it. And you don't want to put yourself in a hole before you even get started, right? And next thing is relying on pending deals or future clients, because deals can fall through. They can find somebody else can come through and take that deal from you, or they can find something better. Because guarantee you this, because somebody make a handshake agreement with you or what have you, doesn't mean it's going to be guaranteed that they're going to use your services, right? Because after they talk to you and you feel like they guarantee you the service or the job, guess what's going to happen? They're going to turn around and still look around to see if it's somebody else that's better, somebody else that's doing what they supposed to see if they can find a better deal or better services, right? So you don't want to rely on pending deals or future clients, because like I said, it's not guaranteed that somebody's going to be a recurring client of yours, right? Like I said, people are always searching for better services, a better deal, or what have you, right? So you do not want to rely on that. Next, you got to operate from money earned, not money hoped for. Let me say it again. Operate from money earned and not from money hoped for. Next thing is ignoring emergency funds. This is the important one. You definitely want to have emergency funds set up, right? That's in your personal life, and that's is if you are a business. You want to have 6 months. Most people have 6 months. Recommend 6 months. If you can do a year worth of emergency fund, that's great. 6 months, right? Because you never know what may happen as a business owner. Like I said, your business may hit a rough patch. Something may happen like COVID, where you're gonna need money to be able to pay your employee, take care of expenses, or you may have to do something differently to survive until whatever is going on passes over, right? So you definitely want to have emergency funds, because anything as a business owner, just like in your personal life, can happen. So the emergency funds are there to help you be able to survive. Because when you go back and look at a lot of these business that was within the pandemic, some of them was already on their last leg, some of them just started. The pandemic came and knocked a lot of businesses out of business, and they haven't returned at all, right? That's why it's so, and the ones that was able to survive, they adapt and made changes. Like you had some businesses, they may not been selling their regular stuff. They start selling, making their own masks, especially if they had the production to do it, making a mask, making different little things, hand wipes, different little things that would help them along while this pandemic was going on, so they can survive. They can pay their employees. They can do the things to be able to make it through it until the COVID pandemic passed and what have you, right? So ignoring emergency funds, right? Businesses experience slow seasons too. So you got to understand, you have slow season as a business owner. So you want to be able to prepare for any slow seasons, right? Next thing is equipment breaks. You have equipment that breaks. So you want to have emergency funds put aside just in case you may have to go and buy new equipment. You may have to go get new things, right? You may have to go grab a part for your equipment that broke down, or you might have to you have to buy a piece of equipment, right? So you want to understand you got to have the emergency funds. Clients disappear because yes, you're going to lose clients, you're going to gain clients. What happened if you lose, say for instance, if you have 10 clients and two of them is your biggest, spend the most money, and you lose two of them, and the other eight of them really don't bring in what the other two. So you want to make sure you be able to have the emergency fund until you can find another big client, one or two big clients, right? So that's why it's important. You got to understand, man. You got to make sure you have that emergency fund. So why every entrepreneur needs a business reserve. You definitely need a business reserve. You have some places out here where they can help fund you until you get over whatever you get going through as an entrepreneur. So you got places out here like that, but the emergency funds is like a reserve for you. Yes, you have other places out here that can fund you through what you're going on, but if you can avoid that, by all means, and get you an emergency fund, right, set up, that will help you in a long way, and you will be prepared for anything that happens rather than you don't have emergency funds. Now you have to scramble. You got to see what you can do, see where you can get the money from and what have you. And you don't want to have to go through that, because you got to understand, financial confidence comes from preparation and not prediction. Let me say it again. Financial confidence comes from preparation and not prediction. So you want to be prepared for a slow season, prepare for equipment break. You want to be prepared for anything that can go wrong as an entrepreneur, right? Next thing is debt used for lifestyle instead of growth, right? And the thing is using good debt versus bad debt. Let me say it again. Not using, but understanding good debt versus bad debt. My bad. Understanding good debt versus bad debt. Financial liabilities instead of assets, right? Using credit cards to maintain appearances, right? So these things can cause, like, financial liabilities instead of asset liabilities can cause bad debt for you, right? Getting things that's not gonna be an asset to you. Yes, most things people would say start off with liabilities and you can turn it into an asset, but you don't want to buy something that's going to be strictly a liability for you and never turn to an asset that you can use to help you as an entrepreneur, right? To be able to gain capital, to be able to make money, to do things that you need to do, right? Using credit cards to maintain a period. See, credit cards is definitely a quick way to put you in debt, because you got to pay that back. That's money that you don't physically have. That's credit that you are using that's going to turn into debt if you don't pay it. It's debt when you use it, right? But at the same time, you don't want to use it to the point to maintain appearances, and you are financially broke. You barely making it as an entrepreneur. So you want to avoid that. If you have a credit card, a business credit card, use that for things far as if you don't have, say for instance, you don't really have emergency fund set up. You may have a little bit of emergency fund, say three months worth, right? And you do have a business credit card. You can use that for anything that may happen, that you may have to use it for equipment. You may have to use it for more materials. You may have to use it for something that may be emergency only, right? So the thing is your debt helping your business grow or helping you avoid reality? So let me read that again, because that's something you got to understand. Is your debt helping your business grow or helping you avoid reality, right? So like I said before, if it's debt that's helping your business grow, because yes, it's going to be, most things start off as a liability, but you're going to turn it into an asset because it's something that's helping your business grow, right? And it's an asset to your business, right? But if it's a debt that's you just causing because you don't want to face reality as an entrepreneur, that you're not really where you're supposed to be at. Your business is not profitable. You're not making money, right? But you want to keep the appearances up like you really are a successful entrepreneur, and you really in debt, your business is basically 1 month away from shutting down, or you calling it quits as an entrepreneur, right? Next thing is not understanding financial statements. This is big, right? Because you got income statements. You want to understand the income that's coming in, because that's very important, because you're going to have to take the income and put it into different parts of your business. Like I said, the income that's coming in, you want to understand how much you want to put back toward you definitely got expenses, how much you want to put back of getting materials, how much you need to use to enhance your services. So you want to understand the income statements that's coming in. How much money are you making on a month in, month out, week in, week basis, in a day? So you want to make sure your income statement, understanding what it is, your profit and loss reports, right? You want to understand those, because you want to understand where the profit is coming in from that you are doing. Where is the losses is coming from? What can you take away? Especially, okay, I'm losing money on this end. I'm losing money doing this. I can take this away because I'm making more money, more profit from this part of my business versus this. So you got to understand where the losses. You want to be able to get rid of the losses much as possible, right? That's the cash flow statements. You want to make sure you understanding that, because you want to make sure you having enough cash flow coming in that you're going to need, that you can set aside enough cash flow that you can use for your business. You want to make sure it's enough cash flow that you have, because at the end of the day, if you don't have enough cash flow coming in as a business owner, you're not going to be able to survive, right? So why every entrepreneur should know their numbers. Numbers is important, because this is going to help you and be a forecast of how your business is doing, how your business is making progress, what area of your business is thriving and what area isn't, right? What area is making the money, what area isn't. So you want to be able to, well, like they say, you want to be able to trim the fat off. So what is causing you to lose money? Where your losses at in your business, where you can cut. And you see businesses do that. You see nowadays businesses, you might see these chains, right, close down a lot of their restaurants, and they might keep a few because these restaurants wasn't bringing a lot of money in. They was losing. They was on a losing end. So if we can cut 15 restaurants out of the equation, we can see more cash flow coming in. We can start generating a lot more money per se. We don't have to worry about these failing restaurants. Now we can have a little bit more. We can come closer, steady. We can get out of the red, right? And when they trimming those businesses, it's not per se guaranteed they going to make a profit. Now it's because now they got to find a way to have better quarters, how to get out of the red. We get rid of 15. This can be a step closer to where we need to get to, right? That's why it's good. If you want to enter the field of being an entrepreneur, if you, just as a regular human being, if you not want to be an entrepreneur, right, it's good for everybody to take a financial literacy course so you can understand financial, especially a business course at that. If you want to be an entrepreneur, take you a financial literacy course, learn about the statements, learn about everything. So, and that's the biggest piece, especially if you are an entrepreneur. Say, for instance, you trying to look for a business loan. You got to put together your business plan. The most important part of the business plan is the financial piece. That's what they look for, because they want to know how long it's going to take for them to get their money back. They want to see numbers that's going to be realistic, something that's they're going to see that's sustainable, numbers that's actually is going to be able to be reached and what have you. So they want to see that. So take your financial literacy course, understand these things, because this is going to be the important piece, right? Because you definitely going to need the cash flow on a monthly basis for your business, because like I said, you cannot use the revenue you're making and mistake that as a profit, because it's not. Anything that's left over after you take care of the expenses, pay your employees, your investors, whatever you have in your business, whatever, and after you pay yourself, right? You want to see what percentage you want to pay yourself. What after doing all that is what is going to be your profit, whatever you have left over after that, guys. So before I go, man, you got to understand the biggest financial trap isn't the lack of money. It's the lack of financial discipline, right? That's the key thing is financial discipline. It's not the lack of money. You can start a business. You had some people start a business with $500, but they was able to double that. They was able to build on that because of they had financial discipline. So it's not going to work if you don't have financial discipline. You definitely got to have that, right? So before I go, I got to ask y'all this, right? Which financial trap have you fallen into, right? Next question is, which one are you currently working to overcome, right? And what financial lessons did entrepreneurship teach you the hard way, right? So understand this, guys. Those three questions, you answer those three questions and answer them honestly, right? Because it's all about facing your reality. So that's what last week episode was about, the reality pill as an entrepreneur. So once you answer those questions truthfully, you will see the reality of where you at. And you will be able to fix that. You'll be able to understand. You'll be like, okay, maybe I do need to take a financial course. Maybe I need to understand how to become financial disciplined. I need to set a system, put a system in place to make sure I'm doing these right things, making sure I have a cash flow, make sure that I'm creating an emergency fund for myself, doing the things that I need to do. But other than that, guys, man, success isn't measured by how much money comes into your business. It's measured by how much you keep, manage, and multiply. But other than that, guys, man, thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming through, man. Listening to and tuning into, watching another entrepreneur conversation that we have for today, man. Thank y'all once again. Make sure before y'all leave, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Make sure you hit all and invest in hitting that like button, guys. It's free to invest in hitting that like button. But other than that, guys, man, thank y'all once again, man. Yep.